So I had my mehendi in my drawing room, living room, and I DIY'd a lot of it because it was not one of the big events that we were paying for. And there was a detailed process to it. I'm very digitally organized. I created a detailed PPT with all the inspiration of what I would want ideally. Then I started looking into the constraints that were there in the room. You have to work with your space. The first thing was the chula in my living room is in the center of the house, center of the house. And you cannot basically have a backdrop right behind it because that makes the room shorter. So, and I wanted to use the chula, so I basically decided that I will not have a spot where like the dulhan sits and there's a beautiful background and that's the sajaot part of it. I won't have that. Second thing was my cushion covers were a little colorful, and some I already had in that creamy look. I had to buy some more and add some green in there to fit my aesthetic. So that was a small cost to keep the consistency of the color that I was looking for going. Thirdly, I removed some of the elements, some pictures, some parts of the hanging pieces that did not go with the aesthetic I was going for just that day. Fourth, I also decided to remove parts of my sofa because it was taking too much space, and we would need smaller pieces of furniture there so that the mehendi vendors can sit and apply mehendi and not take too much space like a very luxurious sofa does. The curtains, it might not work with your aesthetic. Check if you have other curtains in the house, or tweak your aesthetic to fit your curtains. In my case, I did not have to touch the curtains. The furniture, I had the typical middle class carving furniture in my house, and that did work with my aesthetic. In fact, it made it look more temple-y, so that was a happy accident. The first thing was I knew I already had a lot of brass pieces in the Ghar Ka Mandir, and so I went and took all of that out, cleaned them with pitambari. I also asked a lot of friends and family members if I could just borrow the brass diya, tall diyas if they have in their home, and Indian homes ek aad to hota hi hai, so everybody just gave me theirs. So I had enough to create that look that day. So the only element of brass that was bought, and it was not already at home, was this hanging brass thingy in which there were also flowers, and it looked very pretty. I don't know if it shows in videos. We did not have that, and I felt like I'm only decorating the space below and there's nothing on the above like walls. So we had ladiya, but I wanted to add one element of brass. One thing I needed to do was get all the gamle from all the balconies and put it in there. So I did that the night before. Also worked with the same vendor who decorate the shadi ka ghar, the balcony, who put that fabric जो शादी के घरों में लगता है, and that was very easy for them to do. I decorated the main door of the house mostly, and then the living room. I also lined up the ghar being decorated date with my mehendi date, and I even decided what day I'll do my mehendi according to that. This way I had fresh decoration of flowers on my mehendi day without having to do extra decor for the mehendi day, if that makes sense. I even decided my outfit based on the colors of the decor that I was going for. And now this amount of interconnectedness comes from if you are organized and keep a very detailed board, which is why again Notion comes in. Oh yes, I almost forgot. There was a space that was looking empty, and I wanted this very boutique at home mandiri look. So as weird as this sounds, I got the rod that I had bought to hang my lehengas, and I added multiple green and pinkish looking things on hangers on that thing. So it looks very much like it's like a shop or a closet, and that's in the background, and that's very intentional. And I would say when you're DIYing something, keep it simple. I knew I could just put together some brass elements, throw some flowers in there with that aesthetic in mind, and it would look nice. And once I did that, I would not have to worry about it. So like, don't start making detailed rangolis for it because people will step on it. Don't start making detailed backdrops that you can't keep up with, or it'll fall off by the next day. Choose flowers that will stay fresh till your mehendi day, or align your dates of when you get flowers done accordingly. You can even choose a aesthetic which doesn't require a lot of adding things. You can choose a very simple aesthetic. I feel like some of mine worked because I went with घर के पौधे अपने ही डाइनिंग टेबल पे. So work with what you have. That's one of the biggest things with DIY. That's the whole point of DIY. That's all. I can't think of anything else that I missed.